Welcome back to the Football Tragics. It's going to be a long one. Match week 33 and 34 review coming to you. Obviously, the big game just happened. Liverpool versus Tottenham. What a blockbuster that was at Anfield. But before that, we're going to unpack a lot of games. So we're going to fly through a few of them. We're going to go in depth in a few of them. But let's get straight into it. Match week 33, the midweek games last week. The first one was Wolves 2-0 over Crystal Palace. And for me, this was a bit of a shock because Crystal Palace have been looking very good under Roy Hodgson. Very, very good. Climbed up the ladder, all but pretty much safe, really, in the Premier League since he's come in after 3, 4, 5 games. But Wolves, third minute they scored, 94th minute they scored, 2-0, job done. Don't know if they really deserve the win. I think a draw could have been a fair result here. But look, they take it. It's a massive win. And it pushed them on their way towards Premier League safety as well. Crucial result for Wolves here. And again, Palace, I think they're already safe, so it's not too much of a worry here for them. I think it's an all right result. Obviously, you don't like losing games, but it's not the worst in the world. Aston Villa, 1-0 over Fulham. And for me, just continues Villa's rise up the ranks under Unai Emery. I mean, he's been brilliant since he's come in. I don't think any team's won more points, or maybe only City's won more points than him since his arrival at Villa Park. So they're sitting in 7th now. And obviously, as these games are going on, I know the result of the following game, so they might not be going as well as we say. But look, for this result here, it's a big win against a Fulham team who, again, are having a very impressive season for themselves. So great stuff here for Aston Villa and puts them on their way towards possibly European football next season. We'll see how that plays out. But Leeds 1-0, Leicester. Look, I'm just flying through them. Some of them don't need to talk too much about, but this one, I mean, it's a relegation 6-pointer, this one, and it's just the result that nobody really wants. 1-1 draw doesn't really favour any team at all. Sinistera, 20 minutes in, scores to open. Then Jamie Vardy, the hero for Leicester, saves them in the 80th minute. I mean, I think it's his first goal since like October or something ridiculous like that. So crucial time to score that for him and get Leicester a point away at Leeds. But again, just not the most ideal result for the team. I'm just looking at the ladder, and I mean, Leicester's in 18th, 29 points, Leeds a point ahead of them on 30. It's just they need to be picking up wins. So a result here, 3 points here would have worked out to be, the good old saying of 6 points. So 1-1, I guess they take it and move forward, but it's not the ideal result for either team. But now let's look at a team that is battling relegation as well and got an ideal result against a big team. Forest 3-1 over Brighton. For me, shock of this round by far. I mean, wow. I didn't expect it at all. They absolutely came to play and got a huge 3 points because before this game, they were in the relegation zone, and now they're out of it. They're as good as, they're 17th. They're out of it by a point. But look, points are points, wins are wins. They need to pick them up, and they did what Leicester and Leeds didn't do against each other. And they got a big 3 points against a team where, on paper, you probably say they're not going to get a result against, even at home. So huge win against a Brighton team who are flying very high, sitting at 8th. And again, like Villa, are dreaming of European football, and it could be on its way. But Forest, fair play to you guys. And now a game that, just wasn't. It was expected, sorry. The other one wasn't, but this one, expected. Chelsea fan, don't want to talk about it too much because it pains me. But I just knew it was going to happen. We cannot play football to save our lives this season. We don't want to be out there. 73% possession. 4 shots on target to their 1, and the final result was 2-0 to Brentford. I watch every single Chelsea game, but they just get worse and worse every week, and I just can't believe it. I just don't know what's going on. Don't know who to blame at this point. I think it's on the players more so than the Lampards at this point, but I honestly don't know. Everything in this game was in our favour. It should have finished in our favour. 15 shots to their 7, 4 shots on target to their 1, 73% possession. We had triple the amount of passes they had. We had 88% park accuracy compared to their 65. It was a snatch and grab from them. But when you say that, it sounds surprising, but it wasn't even. Like, they They came to play. They had a game plan, and we didn't. We just kicked the ball around for 90 minutes and hoped for the best. And yes, their first goal, own goal, bit lucky on their part, but then they go and score another one in 78th and they wrap the game up. And we just didn't look like scoring. For all the possession we had, for all the passes we had and the shots we had, it's just pointless because we go out there, we kick the ball, and in the end, we lose a game. That's the way I see it right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to change this season. Arsenal up next. I'm not going to get into that game because it hasn't happened for this round. But, yeah, we need this season to end. We need to get a new manager in. We need to get the ball rolling, and hopefully next season is an improvement because it can't get any worse than this unless, of course, we somehow get relegated, which I think is a little bit of a stretch, thankfully. Let's get into Liverpool. 2-1 over West Ham. A little bit of controversy here. Obviously, Jared Bowen scored a goal, was ruled offside. It was a back-and-forth game. Could have gone either way. But Liverpool are picking up the points where it matters now. They're really growing into it. And, I mean, as I say this, after their result against Tottenham as well, they now sit fifth. They're in European football again. They will play Europa League as it stands. And, yeah, for the season they were having, they were on par with Chelsea, who was doing worse. But they've really come about, and they're getting points now. And, as I said, they've got a game in hand over Spurs as well. So they're in fifth, and who knows? Could they get Champions League football? I think that's a stretch, but Europa League looks to be theirs at this point. And so they've really turned their season around. But the big one of last week, Manchester City 4-1 over Arsenal, blew them out of the park completely. I think most people expected this. The only people who didn't were maybe the ones that were praying for an Arsenal win more so than thinking it would happen. But City, too good on the day. I think it was always going to happen. At the Etihad especially. De Bruyne masterclass. John Stones played phenomenal. Haaland obviously wrapped it up. Rob Holding's goal, I mean, it makes him look good scoring a goal, but boy, was he shocking this game. He was absolutely scored. Haaland had a field day between him and Gabriel. And that's the title as good as City's, in my opinion. They're now a point clear, obviously. We'll get into the other game from match week 34. But they're a point ahead of Arsenal now with the game in hand as well, and it looks like their run-in is pretty favourable, and they should go on to win the title now. And Arsenal, well, your time at the top, it was nice while it lasted, but I think second's as good as yours now. I don't think you're going to get that league title this season. Unfortunately for you guys, happy for me, of course, because that's the only thing I can be happy about this season as a Chelsea fan. Southampton, narrow loss, 1-0 to Bournemouth. I mean, again, Southampton just cannot pick up results to save their life right now. At home against Bournemouth, who are doing very well, to be fair. They're in some great form. What is it, 4 wins out of 5 recently? I mean, they're playing fantastic football, and they've pretty much stayed up now at this point. But Southampton at home, you need to be offering something. You need to be showing something, and they don't want to be out there. They're not enjoying themselves. They look like a championship side at this point. Hell, most championship sides probably look better than Southampton at this point. So they hit rock bottom, 24 points. They are 6 points from the drop zone, like to stay up. And I just can't see it happening. What is it, 4 games to go? Yeah, sorry, Southampton, but you're gone, unfortunately. You've got a very tough run in, and I cannot see you staying up for the life of me. But another team that could well and truly be joining them there is Everton. They lost 4-1 at home to Newcastle. Absolutely played off the park on their own home turf. Anthony Gordon's welcome back to Goodison. I mean, they weren't happy with him, but boy, is he probably happy because he's going to be playing Champions League football next year, which is crazy. But Callum Wilson, the star of the show, Joel Linton, brilliant player. Alexander Isak with a phenomenal assist for Jacob Murphy as well. I mean, Newcastle are flying so high. They had that minor blimp post-World Cup, but since then they've corrected that. And again, they're probably one of the best teams in the comp right now. They're playing brilliant football and a joy to watch, scoring goals for fun. Everton, on the other hand, I mean, they're looking depleted, just like Southampton. They just don't look like they want to be out there. And for them, I mean, they're one of a few teams, only a few, who have never, ever been relegated from the Premier League or the English top flight for that matter. And I think that might be coming to an end, possibly, unless they can turn it around. But I believe they've got a pretty tough run in. I mean, I can already see now their next game against Brighton away. tough game, and I'm not going to. And then Man City. Okay, I'm going to stop looking now because I feel bad for you Everton fans, but it's not looking good for you at all. Good luck is all I can say. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 2, cracker. I mean, Man United went 2-0 up, and you thought, Tottenham, same as last week against Newcastle. But no, they turned it around. Fair play. They got what I would say is a deserved draw out of this game. They had a fair few chances. The stats are very, very even. The possession wasn't in their favour at home, but again, either it wasn't for Brentford against Chelsea either. So 2-2 draw here. You claw yourself back from 2-0 down. I think they can be happy enough with that result. Again, with the other teams on their tail chasing European football, it's probably not ideal, but they are versing a top 4 side. So not the worst result, but Man United would probably kicking themselves they didn't wrap this one up earlier because, again, I think they're fine, but they do have clubs hunting them for that 4th spot. So we'll see. But 2-2 draw is how that one finished at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and probably a fair reflection of the game itself. Now, match week 34 started off in crazy fashion. Crystal Palace 4-3 over West Ham, and as I said, Crystal Palace are safe now, in my opinion. They're on 40 points. They are 11 points clear now of the top zone. Well done to Roy Hodgson. He's got them safety. It's what he came in to do. He's achieved that. And not just that, but they've not just been grinding out results. They've been dominating teams. They've been playing phenomenal free-flowing football, creating a lot of chances. And this game was a reflection of that. They didn't dominate by any means, but they had a lot of chances. They played some brilliant football. And, I mean, this game was absolutely end-to-end. It started off in West Ham's favour, but then it was just back and forth, and Crystal Palace grinded out that result and got the 3 points, which puts them, as I said, in, I'd say, the safety in the safety net. West Ham on the other end, though, are still only 5 points clear from the drop. So not looking great, but they will be happy that there are teams worse off than them and are not playing as good a football as them, because West Ham are playing some good football. They've won 3 out of their last 5, so they're not looking too bad. Sorry, 2 out of the last 5, but they're not looking too bad. I do fancy them to stay up. I think they've done just enough. They're in a European semi-final as well in the Conference League, and I just think there are teams that are looking worse and are worse off points-wise as well. So I fancy West Ham to pick up 1 or 2 results in the next 2 games, and they'll be as good as safe. Okay, maybe not next week. I believe they've got City, but the week after, 3 points, I reckon that'll be enough to get them safety, and that should be that. Now, Wolves, after picking up a great result against, against Crystal Palace, they go and get absolutely plummeted by Brighton, 6-0. Brighton's biggest ever win in, I think, the top flight or Premier League history. Either way, huge win for Brighton. I mean, it just shows the impressive work that De Zerbi is doing at that club. I mean, they are absolutely flying, and 22 shots, 8 on target for Brighton. I mean, it just shows that they're playing some liquid football, fluid football, and wow, they're shocking teams off the park. And Wolves haven't been great this season, obviously. They're just about safe from the drop. But Brighton came to play, blew them off the park completely, and they've got a few games in hand now. They've only played 31 compared to the teams around them, played 34, even 33. Brighton win 2 of those games. They jumped to 50. Oh, God, math is my strong point, but they jumped to 58 points. That puts them into 5th spot. That's just 2 out of their 4 games. That's just 2 out of their 3 games in hand. They win 1 of those. They're still looking pretty good. So that little fight there for European football, I would say, for that 5th spot, Europa League and Conference League, of course, as well. Those 2 spots are up for grabs. I think Champions League a stretch too far, but those 2 spots, there's Liverpool, Spurs, Villa, Brighton, and maybe Brentford fighting for those spots. So who knows whose it's going to be. Liverpool look the goods, though. Tottenham look a bit depleted. Villa up and down as of late. But Brighton, it's anybody's. And I can't wait. 4 games to go. Obviously, Brighton 7. But who knows? I don't even know where it's going to go. So let's move on. Brentford 2-1 over Nottingham Forest. I mean, Forest could have had back-to-back crucial results and got them safety. Well, not safety, sorry, but put them away from that little drop zone, put them in their hands again. But a 94th minute goal to lose this game, an 82nd minute equaliser even, was enough for Brentford to turn it around and continue their very impressive season. But Nottingham Forest will be kicking themselves because this would have been a crucial 3 points to back up their previous, but it's not to be. Brentford take all 3 points. Nottingham Forest will still remain on 30 points, just a point clear of the drop zone. And it just shows that a win's not good enough. You need a few. You need to string a few together. And that's why Everton versus Leicester, a 1-1 draw was... Leicester versus Leeds was just a bit of a nothing game for both. It's not really the result either team would have liked. But Forest, do I fancy them to stay up? I don't know. I still don't know. There's 4 or 5 teams that still can go down. I don't think anybody's... I'd say West Ham's probably the safest, but all those teams on 30 points. There's 5 teams fighting for three spots, I'd say. So we'll see how it goes. Forest, though, they have it in them to stay up because they do play some good football at times. You've seen they can get a result, but not this one. So we'll see how that pans out. Again, 5 games remaining for those teams. It's going to go down to the final game of the season for sure. Maybe even 2 clubs fighting out. Who knows? Let's get into Man United. 4th spot, I would say, is theirs. Even 3rd is still theirs for the taking. A 1-0 win over a Villa side who are good. A very good side. They haven't... I believe that was the first time they've not scored in 2023. So... fair play to Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. They came to play, got the big 1-0 win. It wasn't the prettiest, but they'll take it. They stopped Villa from creating a lot of chances. Villa only managed 1 shot on target. So for a Villa team who have been getting results pretty much weekly, United did the business and they have a game ahead over Newcastle. They can jump back to 3rd spot and finish what would be a good season for them in Champions League football, of course. Fulham 1, Manchester City 2. Got off to the perfect start. Very, very early for Manchester City. 3 minutes in, Erling Haaland scores his 50th goal of the season in all competitions. That's ridiculous. 34 just in the Premier League alone. He's equaled Alan Shearer and Andy Cole for the most goals in a Premier League season. But those other 2 did it in a 42-game season. So Haaland, 34 games. I think he's played 29 games or something like that. He hasn't even played all the games. And he's going to break the record. He's going to score 40 this year if he continues the way he is. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, I don't see anybody beating it anytime soon, but he's going to take them towards the Premier League trophy, that's for sure, because he's scoring crucial goals. But it nearly didn't work out the way City wanted it. It was 1-1 at one point. Carlos Vinicius hit back pretty early on, 15th minute, and then Julian Alvarez. I mean, Pep was without Kevin De Bruyne after he put a masterclass against Arsenal. So you can understand if they slipped up a little bit here. But no, Julian Alvarez in for Kevin De Bruyne and scored an absolute screamer past Bernd Leno, who had a very good game but could do nothing about this one. And it's a 3 points for Manchester City. And as I said earlier, puts them a point clear of Arsenal with a game in hand as well. Arsenal still to play against Chelsea. We'll see how that one goes. Don't have high hopes as a Chelsea fan, but I'd love to see us wreck Arsenal season well and truly. But Arsenal can go back to the top. We'll see how it plays out. City, though, big win for them. Fulham, I think it was expected. I think they can't be too unhappy with themselves. They put up a good fight, but I think it was always going to work out this way. Now, Leeds United, yeah, boy oh boy, they're going down. They're not even in the relegation zone, but I just feel like they are the worst team, bar Southampton right now in the Premier League. They conceded 24 goals in April, the most that's ever happened in a Premier League season in 1 month. So they are not keeping enough clean sheets. Obviously, not conceding. They're conceding too many goals, but they're also not scoring enough goals either to change those results. 4-1 away from home against a Bournemouth again, who fair play to them. They have dug deep. They've got themselves out of that relegation zone, and they're absolutely flying. And I'd say they're safe now. 4-1 win. Jefferson Lerma, couple crackers, and job done. Too easy for Bournemouth. 4 wins out of their last 5. Very, very impressive. And Premier League safety. Premier League, once again, for another season, is looking that way. Leeds, however, be careful because it's not looking good. Newcastle, 3-1 over Southampton. Southampton here took a shock 1-0 lead, but I don't think I certainly didn't expect them to hang on. Newcastle are playing too well. They're creating too many chances. And Callum Wilson, who started on the bench this game, came on at halftime and changed the game, flipped it on its head. 2 goals, including an offside one as well. Could have had a hat-trick, and it was job done. 3-1, easy as you like for Newcastle United. And they stay third. They stay in third spot and sink Southampton again to another defeat and possibly championship football, unless they get a win next week, the week after. Probably need another 3 or 4 out of their last 4. So, yes, Newcastle fair play. Now, the cracker, the fight, the absolute mental thriller, whatever you want to call it, at Anfield to finish off. Well, let's not finish off the round. Sorry, there are 2 games, but we're getting into them. This one, though, wow. Spurs go 3-0 down inside 15 minutes, and you're thinking, oh, my God, the same as Newcastle. But no, they dug deep. After that, they absolutely peppered Liverpool, to be fair. And they just couldn't find the back of the net for a few attempts until Harry Kane got the equaliser after Ivan Perisic ruined Virgil van Dijk's ankles to set up him and get them back on track. 3-1 at the half. Not great, but not out of it. And then again, more and more relentless pressure from Spurs, piling it on. 77th minute, Song Heung-min gets the 3-2, and you're thinking, game on, can it happen? And then Richarlison, his first Premier League goal for Spurs, that finally stands, rips the shirts off, shushes the crowd, does his pigeon dance, and then, oh no, a minute later, straight from the kickoff, Alisson, long ball, Lucas Moura, what are you doing, son? Attempts to pass it back to his keeper, sells him short. Diego Jota latches onto it and wins the game. 94th minute, absolute limbs at Anfield. And, I mean, straight away the camera cut to Richarlison. You could just see the depletion in his face. I mean, how cruel is football? Finally, a goal stands for him in the Premier League for Tottenham. And it's not even the equaliser. After all the effort, after ripping the shirt off and the rest. I mean, it's cruel, but you love to see it. What a spectacle this was, though, at Anfield. But there's a few talking points here. I mean, Diego Jota arguably shouldn't have been on the pitch. I mean, 80th minute, 81st minute, studs up to Oliver Skip's head. How that wasn't a red card is genuinely, it baffles me. But wasn't given, and he becomes the hero. So what could have been villain is the hero, and Liverpool were thanking their lucky stars they didn't cop a red there, because it could have gone either way. Definitely should have been. But 3 points is theirs. They jumped them now into 5th. They are sitting in that Europa League spot ahead of Spurs, and they have a game in hand as well, so to put a bit more distance between the two. But the funniest thing from this game, and what I'm going to finish off on, is when Diego Jota scores the goal. It cuts to Jurgen Klopp on the sideline. He sprints to the 4th. He's blown off about someone, and in the process pulls his hammy. I mean, the bloke loves a wine, but to pull his hammy in the celebrations, I mean, it's so good. And that's pretty much where we're going to finish it, because there is 2 games left this round. Leicester play Everton, and that one, much like the Leicester-Leeds game, is a huge one. No team can afford a draw. That needs to be a win for either team. I don't know which way it's going to go, but that needs to be a win. And then we'll finish on Wednesday morning with my boys Chelsea up against Arsenal at the Emirates. I don't know which way it's going to go. It's probably going Arsenal's. Let's be real. We don't get results. We've been stinking. They've been good. But boy, oh boy, would it be hilarious to wreck their season truly and basically orbit hand City the title with a few games remaining and completely end Arsenal's and our rivals' hopes of a Premier League title. Come on, Chelsea. I hope it happens, but we'll see. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again in a week's time. Peace.